Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's team call. So I'm Leah Pearson and I'm an Emerald Ambassador, and tonight I am going to talk to you guys about business builders, like getting business builders on your team, duplication. And I am really pumped about this, and I hopefully this call is going to light a fire in you guys as well. So I'm feeling really strongly. I've been reflecting on just what's ahead for the next year. That's something that I always do for my personal life, for my business, all the things. And I've been reflecting on what's coming up for our business. And I really think that we are in a very unique season and that we need to be ready. So I'm sounding the alarm tonight, and I hope that you guys will heed this call and that you will prepare, because there is going to be a really big harvest coming in the next 6 months. Can I get an amen for that? We are in a really unique time in history. Whatever your stance is right now with what's going on in the world, money is tight, right? Money is tight for a lot of people. And I know that we're headed into the Christmas season. And personally, I think there's probably a lot of families hurting right now, even before the holidays get here. And several of them are going to just kind of try to muscle their way through the next couple months. But the pain is going to hit, and they're going to be desperate for relief from financial strain. They need hope, and this business can change the trajectory of their family's life. But the question is, are you going to share hope with them? This is going to be a massive amount of people wanting an at-home business. This has the potential to change everything for them, and it has the potential to catapult your business to incredible levels in the next 6 to 12 months. So wherever you're at in your business, whatever level, however long you've been here, what if you could double your income by next year? What would that look like for your family? What if you had someone on your team that you could help double their income? That really hits home for me, because I know some of the personal stories of some of the girls on my team, and I know that that would, like, tears streaming down their face, it would change everything, right? What if you could help 5 people on your team double their income in the next year? How would that make you feel? Get ready, because to the degree in which you're willing to open up your mouth and be bold with what we have in regards to this opportunity is the degree of the momentum that is going to hit your team. Can you see it? I really want to encourage you to start picturing people out there that are desperate and hungry for change and what this can do for them, because guys, that's going to fuel your excitement and fuel your action if you take the focus off of you and start thinking about the people that so desperately need this. So I want you to just kind of think for a second about your current team. How many product users do you have versus business builders? And jot this down. I want you to reflect on this week. Talk to your sponsor about this. How many silvers do you develop on a monthly basis? What does that look like? How many silvers do you have in your team? How many all-in business builders do you have on your team that are like, yes, they've caught the vision, they are all in, doing all the things and working? What does that look like? Do you want more business builders on your team? Do you have 3 people that are all in business builders? Wherever you're at, whatever level, do you have 3 people? Yes or no? Put it in the chat, guys. Do those people have 3 workers underneath them? If not, then you've got some gaps that need to be filled. And this is what we call the power of 3. Anyone that's been around for a while, you know what this is. It's really just an easy way to remember that you do not have to try to build this business by yourself, but you can inspire 3 people to work this business with you, get started with you, and then help them do the same. And then you're going places, guys, and you're going to have major growth on your team. As you develop leaders, that's literally, in my opinion, just a side note, probably the most fulfilling and best thing on the whole face of the planet. It's nothing scary. It's the best thing ever. So you want to be developing leaders. But every single person who wants to build a Plexus business, you need to have 3 people working underneath you. Okay. Width is wealth in this business, and width does not mean a super wide team of product users. It means width in business builders. There is a reason that corporate is starting to recognize diamonds for developing jewel legs, right? So my sponsor, Grandma, we call her, right? Jamie, she is a 3-star diamond. That's amazing. So she has 3 individual legs on her team that are emerald or above. If you want a stable business, then you really want 7 individual diamond legs on your team. That is like the pinnacle. That's the goal. So not just diamond. We're not just going to diamond. You need to bring people with you and develop leaders for generational wealth and stability within your business. That might seem a really long way off for a lot of you, or maybe you're just not even quite there, like for believing that yet. And that's okay. I'm just painting a picture, a very realistic picture of where you can go, but just know everybody starts somewhere. So where are you at? Do you have your first 3 people? Do you have 3 people working on your team? And like I said before, maybe you do have 3 people working. Okay, do they have 3 people? This is something that I do even just this week. I kind of was mapping this out. So that's like, basically you're almost drawing a tree for your team. So, okay, I've got this level 1 worker of mine. She has 1 all-in worker. So we've got 2 gaps over here. This level 1 worker of mine, yes, she's got those 3, but her workers don't have workers. So draw that out so that you can see where the gaps are at. Okay. That's just a really easy way to reflect for your team. Draw that out, send it to your sponsor. Maybe you already have, but if you haven't, do that. And then pray over those gaps too. God has those people in mind already. So pray over your future team. If you have leaders on your team that do not have business builders, you want to help them get wins. So help them develop some new business builders, do lots of calls with them, help them vision cast, do all those things. But the first step is identifying those gaps. So if you have ever found yourself saying, I need some business builders or more business builders, or I can't get anybody to do this with me, or if you have anyone on your team saying those things, have you ever thought that maybe we need to start at the foundation, which is you? So everything trickles from the top down. So if there is an issue somewhere, it's probably you. If you don't have business builders on your team, you're the problem. My name is Leah and I'm your friend. It starts with you. Okay. So we got to dig into that a little bit. If you want to attract business builders, if you want a team of business builders, you have to show up for yourself in your business daily. That's the first thing. Lead yourself first. So how are you showing up in your business? You need to be all in and consistent on your IPA, showing up on the team page, team calls, book clubs, consistently posting on social media. You just need to do the things. Like, it's not complicated. Emily did a great video on how IPA is the scaffolding of our business. Are you doing your basic IPA? If you don't show up for your own business, you're not going to trust yourself. And you also are not going to have the trust of other people. People need to trust you in order to follow you on a journey. That's what leadership is taking people on a journey with you. They will not follow you if they can't trust you, and they're not going to trust you if you don't trust yourself. You are going to be timid about sharing what we have here if you're not all in and doing what you need to do, because it's literally like a guilt complex in a way. So guilt and shame make you hide. So if you're feeling guilty about not showing up how you know you should be, then you're going to hide, and you sure as heck are not going to have a strong posture when sharing our opportunity with other people. Belief in yourself in this opportunity. I want to touch on that really quick too. What is your percentage of business builders on your team versus product users? I kind of said that before. If your percentage of business builders is low, it's because of your lack of belief. That means that your posture is not as strong when you're talking about the business with other people. Most of us here, would you take no for an answer if somebody throws up an objection about their health or the products or anything like that? Probably not, right? Most of us would just handle that objection, take it in stride, and keep going. Then why do you take no for an answer when talking to people about the business opportunity? It's because your belief is probably not there. If you believe this opportunity with everything in you, when someone told you no, you're not going to just skedaddle, okay? Do you actually believe that everybody needs this business? Like we say all the time, I hear it all the time. Everybody needs these products. Well, I think everybody needs this business. If you aren't going to follow up with people about the opportunity too, like if they're just going to tell you no and you're just running away, do them justice, you guys. You can't give up on them. You have to follow up. Your sponsor didn't give up on you. That's just a side note. But if you hesitate sharing or struggle with handling objections or have fear or stigma about network marketing, then you've got to get over it and build your confidence. You need to do it. Your sponsor can't do it for you. These Monday night team calls can't do it for you. They're not going to just hype you up and then something's going to change. You have to do it. Are you willing to put in the daily work required to do that? Success does not happen in a day. It happens daily. You have to build your belief in this business daily over time. Will you commit to doing that? How to build your belief in this business? There's a lot of different ways to do it. And I'm seeing some of you guys say some good stuff in the comments. Reading books, that's a great way to build your belief. Emily Granat did a really good team call on money mindset. Brittany Howard did one at our Ruby retreat. I believe that recording's in the team page. Both of them reference some really good books on money mindset and just building your belief, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, stuff like that. So if you have a book that really built your belief, some of you leaders in here, drop that in the comments for people too. Watch training videos on the business model, watch success stories, diamond documentaries, doing affirmations. These are all things that you guys have probably heard, but are you doing them? Like, do you have a strong posture when you're reaching out about the business? Do you believe in the opportunity? If not, go back and do these things. Like, you just need to do it. Visualize yourself leading well. Talk to yourself in the mirror. I just started that this week and it starts out super weird, but it's really, really powerful. If your posture is strong when reaching out about this business, it's because you believe in the model. So make sure that you're showing up for your business and then build your belief in this opportunity in this business model. That confidence is going to come through in your messaging and how you talk to people. So let's talk about messaging. Are you staying in the product zone? I know we talk a lot about like the friend zone a lot, but are you just talking about the products? How many conversations do you actually have about the business per week? Do you know? Do you track it? Because you probably think it's more than what it actually is if you're not tracking it. I know that because I started tracking. I dare you to start tracking. If you are doing the all-in IPA sheet that I know like Jamie's team follows, I'm not sure what some of you other legs do if you do the same IPA sheets. It says on there a minimum of 2 business contacts per day. Are you doing that? Tracking activity is a huge key for success. So please start doing that. And that'll be really eye-opening as far as how many actual business conversations you are having. When you are messaging people, when you sit down to do your IPA and message people, I recommend leading with the business opportunity. So reach out about the business first. If you do not lead with the business opportunity, it's probably because of fear. But it can also be seen as selfish in a way because really you're just more worried about what people think instead of like how this could change their life, basically, right? And if you are not reaching out to them, you're making the decision for that person. And we never want to make decision for other people. If you do not talk to them about the opportunity, you're making the decision for them and you're taking that opportunity. Literally, it's like you're taking the opportunity away from them. And when I think about it that way, that hurts. It's like I'm literally taking this opportunity away from them. Or maybe, you know, like if you have a happy product user on your team or something like that, and then you never actually bring up the business to them, it could kind of almost send the message like, oh, Leo just doesn't think that I would cut it with this or that I actually would be good at that, right? And so that kind of hurts my heart too. Like, no, I want people to know that I believe in them and believe that anybody can do this. So the other thing is the first thing that you say to people in regards to anything, including Plexus, plants a seed that they're going to remember. So if you lead with the business, and then even if they get started on the products eventually, they're still going to remember that business opportunity that you shared with them. Something that I was thinking about as well, once I started leading with the business and my messages, I literally felt like I had almost like a completely different market of people that I hadn't touched in a way. And what I mean by that, we kind of established that there's fewer people that will actually talk about the business compared to the products, right? So this is like not just a Plexus thing, it's across the board. So many people get reached out to in regards to products like, hey, try my gummy, try this, try that. You know, they're talking about health products. Whereas when reaching out about the business, really a smaller percentage of people are willing to do this because of fear, right? Like what we talked about. And I've had very few messages, you know, all the years that I've had Facebook, I have maybe had a handful of messages of people reaching out about the business opportunity. And the majority of the time, if I did get a message from somebody, it was like, hey girl, do you want to join my Boss Babes team or whatever? And I'm like, no, I do not want to join your Boss Babes team, right? Like, no. Nope. So I tell them no. And then there's nothing that I hear. I don't hear anything back from them. It's not genuine. There's no follow-up. There's no vision casting. There's no connection, right? No dreaming. So when we as a team decide that we're going to reach out about the opportunity and we do it in a genuine way, you guys, we're going to stand out. We do network marketing how it should be done, but rarely is. We say that a lot, right? So let's talk about how to not say, hey, join my Boss Babes team. I'm not going to give sample scripts tonight because I think a lot of times we can get caught up into saying like, the perfect message. And it's not about having the perfect verbiage necessarily. I think we get wrapped up in that too much. It's really just about being genuine and authentic and conversational. That's the word that I always keep in my head when I'm talking to people about the business. I want this to be conversational. So your sponsor can give you a couple ideas to build from if you still have questions about how to formulate a message after this call, but I'm going to give you just kind of some basics. Okay. So where to go here? Just lost my spot. And what I want you to do is after I give you this will kind of be like a sample script that you write in your voice. So it's unique to you, right? And you can save it on your phone and tweak it and personalize it for each person. So that way it's you making the script and it's authentic to you. So when reaching out to somebody, always start with a personal connection, go to their page, see what they're up to, connect like a real person. So you're not a robot. Then share why you think that they would be great at this. Call out strengths in them, build them up. Are they hardworking? Do they have a heart for others? Do they have a gift of connection? Things like that. What do you see in them? And then include some sort of invitation to do this business and make sure that you end with some sort of question. So they have to respond to you. And again, talk to your sponsor on specifics. This is just kind of a broad stroke overview, because I want it to be your unique voice. But one other thing that has been really helpful for me, and I dare you to do, is to voice clip it. So if you want to come across genuine, one of the best ways to do that is to let people hear you genuinely say something with your voice. So what I do is I will write out what I'm going to say. So it's in front of me. I don't read it word for word, but I keep it in front of me. So that way I keep it concise. And I also remember to touch on what I want to touch on, right? And then keep it under a minute. Do not send them a 4-minute voice clip. They're not going to listen to it. They're going to start listening to it and then just stop. So keep it concise, keep it under a minute. The beauty with voice clips is if you mess up or if you get too long-winded, you can delete it and redo it. I've done that many times, right? But I've had some really, really good responses from that. So have that template in front of you. Don't read it like a robot, but just have that be kind of like a template for you to follow. So here is a sample, just an example. So and I was thinking of my cousin, Rachel, when I wrote this. I just picked a random person while I was prepping the call, but so I would voice clip this and I'd be like, hey, Rachel, so I saw that video that you posted of Bryce today and his dimples literally kill me. I cannot stand it. I cannot believe how big he is. And it looks like you guys are doing super well. And it's so fun to keep up with your family. I was thinking about you today, actually. And I see all the things that you do in your day-to-day, like that time that you built that chicken coop by yourself and all the projects that you take on. She's crazy, by the way. She's amazing. But this is kind of out of the blue, but I'm looking for a couple new people to work with. And I think your work ethic would make you wildly successful at this. Have you ever thought about working from home while your oldest is at school? It would be super fun to work together. So there's a question in there at the end. Rachel is on here. She's like, oh my word. It does take practice. The more you do it, it gets easier as far as like calling out strengths in people. I think that was one of my biggest hangups when I started doing this, is like, I don't even know what to say to these people, but just sit there and like reflect on it and look at their page, look at their life. Okay. And you know, if you don't know them as well, like obviously that's my cousin Rachel. So I know her pretty well and know that she built that whole chicken coop by herself because she's amazing. But just look at their pictures, do your best. It can be a little bit more generic than that. So when you use that above equation that I just shared there, you're calling out strengths and, you know, you're sharing what you see in them. And people are honestly going to just be blown away at the words of affirmation that you're speaking over them, because this world is negative. It's selfish and it's self-focused in a lot of ways. So people do not get this very often. So even if they're not open to the opportunity, they're going to be super thankful that you message them, because literally you're adding value and encouraging them. And they are going to remember you because of your genuine connection. And they're going to be way more open to hearing you out in the future as you continue this conversation, because you are going to continue the conversation. And this is going to make you stand out in the crowd right away. They're going to see that you're different, that this team is different, that this company is different. Anytime you have interaction with someone, you want to leave them better than you found them. You want to be adding value. And when you reach out to people, this is your IPA, just like your day-to-day work. It kind of reminds me of like the day-to-day work of a stay-at-home mom. Your IPA is like doing the dishes, right? It's that daily grind. but you have the opportunity to add value to people and build them up even just through your IPA. The work that we do matters. And even in the day-to-day work of this business, you're making the world a better place just because you're taking time to be genuine. Your IPA is not about checking a box. Don't just do it to do it. It's not empty work. It's about touching people's lives through your messaging. Sometimes you won't know the person quite so well, kind of like what I said. So you can be a little bit more generic, but just take some time to search for qualities that you can call out in them. And then after you message them, follow up after you reach out about the business, just as much as when you're following up about the products. So if you find yourself reaching out and they give you a no and you just scamper, again, you need to check your belief. If you aren't passionate and you don't have a strong posture about talking about the business, like I said before, read some books, watch some videos, talk to your sponsor. You have to get over it and build your confidence. This isn't about you. There's people out there that literally need this opportunity. And I think I heard this analogy in, I think it was Gold School, but I think it was Genevieve in Gold School, but she was talking about how, like, if somebody's on a road trip and they have their mindset on a specific destination, such as Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever, which that would represent being a teacher or maybe being a physician's assistant or whatever it is, they have their mindset on that and they're headed in that specific direction. So everyone around them has probably affirmed them, yep, that's a good logical job. There aren't a lot of unknowns with that. There's a lot of people that do that. It's pretty common. It's applauded by society. It's great. You're on a good track, right? But then if you come in and you're like, hey, like, pit stop over here, Plexus is great. They're not going to just throw all of their plans out the window, right? And believe you when you send that one initial message about the opportunity. So just like they took time to determine their original course, they also are going to need time, affirmation, and education as to why this is a great opportunity for them as well. If you send them one initial message and then do not follow up with them, you aren't giving the opportunity for them to, like, make an educated decision why this could be a great fit. And then they're probably not going to give you or the opportunity a second thought because they don't think that you're serious. So if this is something worthwhile that will change their life, you're going to keep talking about it. So following up is key. On average, we hear, 8 to 12 exposures with the products, somewhere around there, like to get to close somebody on the products. Do you follow up at least 10 times about the business, or do you run away after they say no? Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever reached out to somebody about the business and then you didn't follow up with them again, or at least for quite a while because you were scared. Anybody? Because I was totally there where it's like, okay, you don't want it. See you later. But then the flip switched and I decided I need to have just as strong of a posture about the business as I do about the products. And I need to follow up just as much as I was about the products as the opportunity. And I'm going to say too, a lot of people that say lead with the business and then revert to the products. I don't just revert to the products really quickly anymore. I used to be like, if they're like, no on the opportunity, then I'd be like, okay, hey, try these products and like insert that right away. But I hold off on that and I keep following up about the business until they give me like a super, super hard no. So that's just kind of a side note. How to follow up with people. So I'm saying you need to follow up with people. Questions are a really, really good way to follow up. So when asking questions, you're just really trying to open up a real conversation with that person. So a conversation is not you talking at them. It's not you telling them everything that you know. It's not word vomiting. It's both of you going back and forth. Your goal is to have conversation with people. So questions are key. So just a couple examples, asking them what they do for a living. And do you like it? This is going to prompt them to open up about seeing, maybe not seeing their kids enough, having a bad atmosphere at work, not getting paid enough, living paycheck to paycheck, if they're burned out and want something new. During this time, like, make sure that you're taking notes and also listen in for things that they like about their job, because not everybody wants to leave their job. But you can get some clues of things that they like about their job, like helping people, making a difference. They like the challenging or fast-paced environment, doing something new every day, right? Any connections down that you think, you know what, this would make you great at Plexus as well, or would make Plexus a really good fit for you too. Asking them if they have any financial goals. Do you want to pay off any debt? Do you want to buy a new house or house renovations or vacations, or what does that look like? And take notes on that. Asking them what they like to do in their free time. This will give an indication of what some of their passions are. So you can talk to them about the value of time freedom and how Plexus can provide that. One thing that I like to do is I'll send them an income graphic and ask them what level would make a difference for their family. And this will give you a glimpse as where they're at. If they say $500 a month or like $5,000 a month, you can kind of meet them there and then steer the conversation accordingly. Other ways to follow up, if they aren't actually answering your questions, you can send them business testimonies, and that can vary from written out ones or videos. Diamond documentaries are good. Those are a little bit long. So if somebody is just kind of crickets and not responding to you, I probably am not going to send them an 8-minute diamond doc. But the on the Plexus YouTube channel, there is their videos called Because of Plexus. Those are 2 to 3 minute videos that are a little bit shorter. That might be a better option to start with. And those are super powerful. Inviting them to business events. There is a Business of Gut Health on, I think it's still on YouTube, that Amber Miller and Lori Bradford do. I think it's like once or twice a month. You can add them to that. One other thing that you can do is do a live video about the opportunity. And I did a whole post on how to do a live video in BU, so you can check that out for details. But I like to do a live video, and then even if somebody has never even really responded to me very much, if it's just crickets, I'll go in there and I'll say, hey, I just did this video that means a lot to me. Can I tag you in that? And even if they say no, my video is going to show up in their newsfeed because we went back and forth in Messenger. So they'll still see my video, which is great. But there's details on how to do that in BUs, but I think it's really powerful to do a business video and to even pull someone in from your team. So they have a little bit of a different story, and to do a live video with them. Posting in general, speaking of doing a live, posting is really indirect follow-up. People are watching you to see if you really mean what you're talking about and if you're walking it out. So posting about the business opportunity, I really see that as the foundation for messaging people. If you're messaging people about the business, but you're never posting about it, there's no foundation for that message to stand on. So do not just share about the health benefits of things. You need to be, if you're reaching out to people about the business and you're just posting about health, they're going to be confused. Like, but you never talk about the business opportunity. So is it really that great if you're not ever posting about it, right? And one thing that, posting in general, it just primes people and warms them up for the conversation too. So if they are getting posts about the business from you frequently, and then you talk to them about it, they've already been watching your journey. It literally warms them up. And if you brand well, you never actually send a cold message to anybody if you brand well. In closing, just a couple more thoughts. So when talking about the business and developing business builders, it is a skill that you can learn and that you will get good at the more you take action on it. So even if you don't feel super confident in it, just start taking action in it and you're going to work the kinks out and get better. It's not a fluid thing. It's not like we can give you a set equation on how to do it. But you can learn the flow and it does become easier. So take action, just do it. Send that initial message. When you get a response from somebody, send screenshots to your sponsor, and then they will help you with the flow of the conversation if you just don't know where to go as far as what questions to ask or how to follow up, or just flat out be honest with people. And if you're like, I honestly have no idea what to say to them, say that. Say, I'm really new at the business side of things. Can I put you in a message with my friend Jamie? She's been doing this a little bit longer. You and I can learn together. I would love that. I don't think I've rarely had people say no to that. So get them in a message with your sponsor, have a list of questions in front of you. Some of the questions that I gave you, you can add to that, of course, but just keeping that list of questions in front of me has helped me a lot, because otherwise I feel like I stall and I'm like, okay, what do I say next? But if you have some prompts, it helps you lead the conversation forward. And then get on the phone as soon as possible. The best way to close a business potential is to get them on the phone. Talking about the business, I really think, is a very different animal, because you're talking to people about their finances, which they are not going to as readily open up to or open up about as much as like maybe their heartburn or a headache or something, right? It's just a little bit more private. And it also opens up conversation about their dreams, their heart, their home life, stuff like that. So to really get a glimpse into that, a personal connection on the phone definitely makes it flow a lot easier. And I find people are really reluctant to share as much on Messenger. So if you can get a feel of their pain points on the phone, that's really the best way to help move them forward. And if the phone freaks you out, the best way to learn how to talk on the phone is to get potentials on three-way calls with your sponsor as often as possible. And then as your sponsor is taking time to do those calls, start compiling a list of questions that they are asking and just make notes. And that's how you're going to learn. Welcome calls are also a very, very powerful way to get people to open up. Jamie and I just did a call on that, on how to do a welcome call a few weeks ago. I think it's in Pink Power. So you can check that out if you want to, but that just like whenever you're onboarding someone, you should be bringing up the business opportunity. But then bringing your sponsor in to do a welcome call just validates what you're saying, brings in their story. It's just another angle. It's somebody else backing up what you said. It's super, super powerful. So essentially everyone you bring in, even if it's for the products, get them on the phone with your sponsor so you can connect relationally, and then your sponsor can share their business story. So that is all I have. So thank you guys for joining tonight, and thanks for bearing with me with technical difficulties too.